Assalamu alaikum guys, hope you are fine. Today I am discussing about the topics loop diuretics and how they work. So let's start. What is loop diuretics? What is loop diuretics? So the word diuretics means the substance which are responsible for the formation of excess urine. I am writing just substance responsible for formation of excess urine. So which substance are responsible for formation of excess urine in loop diuretics? These are three number. One is furosemide, second is ethacrynic acid, the third is buentamide. These three substances are responsible for formation of excess urine. So these three substances, where they work, these substances are working the sides of the thick ascending loop of Henle. How can we remember? The term loop means loop of Henle. So these three substances will perform their work in the thick ascending loop of Henle. So what happens in the part of thick ascending loop of Henle? In the thick ascending loop of Henle, there occurs a process called sodium 2-chloride and potassium pump or co-transport process. This means if we imagine if we think the tubular epithelial cells are arranged this way, from this tubular lumen, from this tubular fluid, the sodium 2-chloride potassium are pumped to the tubular epithelial cells. Sodium 2-chloride and potassium. So when this happens, this means that the tubular fluid osmolarity decreases and the tubular epithelial cells osmolarity increase. Tubular fluid osmolarity decrease and tubular epithelial cells osmolarity will increase. So when the tubular epithelial cells osmolarity increase and then the ions will transfer to the interstitial fluid, this increased osmotic pressure is responsible for the reabsorption of water in different parts of this nephron. So when water is reabsorbed from different parts of the nephron, the amount of urine we micturate there, the urine becomes concentrated. But when these three substances or three diuretics, these diuretics function, the pumping activity of the sodium, potassium and 2-chloride is opposed. So if the pumping mechanism is opposed, this means the sodium to chloride potassium cannot reabsorb from tubular lumen. These ions will now passes through distal convoluted tubule, then the collecting tubule, and then the collecting duct. So when these ions will transported through the descending distal convoluted tubule, collecting duct, the osmolarity of this portion will also increase. This will opposes the reabsorption of water from this part. So if there is failure of reabsorption water from this part, this means this unreabsorbable water is now passes through urine. This means urine water volume is now increasing. This means the diluted urine formation. This pumping activity, when lost, it will also causes another system. We know in the loop of Henle there occurs counter current hypothesis mechanism. The mechanism counter current hypothesis. This process occurs in the part of loop of Henle. So what happens in this condition? So from we know the counter current mechanism, the ascending portion of the loop of Henle pumps sodium, potassium, chlorine in the tubular epithelial cells than the interstitial fluid. This means the interstitial medullary interstitial osmotic pressure increase, and this increased osmotic pressure causes reabsorption water from the descending loop of Henle. So when water reabsorbs from the descending loop of Henle, the we again start. So when the sodium and potassium pumped from the tubular lumen to the interstitial fluid, then the osmolarity of the tubular fluid decreases and the osmolarity of the interstitial fluid increase. So in the normal, the interstitial fluid osmolarity 300 milliosmol per liter. The tubular fluid also same, but when sodium pumping activity occurs, this means tubular fluid osmolarity decreases and the interstitial osmotic pressure, the medullary interstitial fluid osmotic pressure increases. So for the first time, this osmotic pressure 400 milliosmol per liter and the tubular fluid osmotic pressure 200 milliosmol per liter. And this increased osmotic pressure in the medullary interstitial fluid causes osmosis of water from the descending portion of the loop of Henle. So when this pumping activity is lost for these three substances, water cannot reabsorb from this site also. This means this water will now pass through the ascending loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting tubule, collecting duct, and then passes and then excreted through the urine. This means these two systems, these two mechanisms now increase the urine volume by increasing the water with urine. In addition, I will say that when this pumping activity is lost, this sodium, chloride, potassium is now will passes through the urine. This means in urine we will find more osmotic substance. So this when and this urine is called as the urine possesses the osmotic particles, and this occurs the diuresis. So this term can be called osmotic diuresis. Thus the loop diuretics perform their function for increasing the formation, for increasing the urine volume. So I hope you understand the matter well. So goodbye.